Welcome back to Quarter Dollar, where forgotten coins unlock unbelievable value. What if I told you that some of the dirtiest, most damaged wheat pennies, the ones you'd normally toss aside, could be worth over $450,000? That's right. Today, we're counting down 10 ugly, worn-out wheat pennies that are secretly treasures hiding in plain sight. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at an old penny the same way again. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to be shocked. One of these pennies might be sitting in your junk drawer, and it could be worth more than a brand new car. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Quarter Dollar, where we bring you the most jaw-dropping coin finds week after week.
First up is a coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance, the 1983D Washington quarter. But don't let its ordinary face fool you. This is one of those rare pieces where the right combination of condition, minting quirks, and collector demand turns pocket change into a powerhouse. Now, let's break it down. Struck at the Denver Mint during a time of economic uncertainty and budget tightening in the US Mint, the 1983 quarters, especially the D Mint, have a surprisingly low survival rate in high grades. Why? Because no official mint sets were produced that year. That means every single coin had to survive the harshness of circulation. Tossed, scratched, dropped, and dented. Pristine examples are ridiculously rare. Look at the coin you're seeing now. If it's got sharp, full details on Washington's hair, a clean, unblemished surface with full luster, and that D mint mark standing strong, you might just be staring at a treasure. But it gets better. 1983D quarters with full strike and minimal wear have been known to fetch over $15,000 at auction. And if there's even the slightest error, like an off-center strike, clipped, planchette, or missing clad layer, the value can skyrocket. One dramatic example of a 1983D missing the nickel-clad layer sold for over $28,000, and it looked like it had been through a war zone. And here's where the real shocker kicks in. A coin graded MS67+ by PCGS that's mint state with near flawless perfection, sold for a jaw-dropping $42,300. Just imagine a coin that cost 25 cents, now worth more than a brand new SUV. So what makes this coin so valuable? Its scarcity in high grade, the absence of mint sets, and a ravenous collector market for 1980s rarities. Especially among baby boomers and Gen Xers who remember these coins in everyday use. Here's how to spot a winner. Look for crisp rim, details, strong eagle feathers on the reverse, and absolutely no signs of circulation. If you've got one tucked away in change you saved from the Reagan era, don't spend it. Graded asterisk, and don't forget, we've only just begun. The next quarter on our list might look even plainer, but it's hiding a secret that stunned the numismatic world. Before we move on, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because you don't want to miss what's coming next. Moving on, we've got a 1982D Washington quarter, and right off the bat, this one might look a little tired, circulated, worn, the kind of coin that's passed through hundreds of hands, vending machines, and pockets. But let me tell you, something that most people don't realize, 1982 was no ordinary year for US coinage, and this dull-looking quarter? It might just be hiding a fortune. Here's why this year, and specifically this Denver minted version, is so special. Like 1983, there were no official US mint sets produced in 1982. That meant coin collectors didn't have an easy way to preserve mint condition examples. Every single quarter minted that year entered circulation. That's right, no protective packaging, no pristine rolls, nothing held back. And because of that, high-grade survivors are rare. Extremely rare. Now take a look at this particular coin in circulated condition. You'll notice wear on Washington's cheek, flat spots in the hair, maybe some loss of detail in the eagle's wings. These are signs of a life well-traveled. But even with this kind of wear, certain features can make this coin worth far more than you'd expect. Let's talk about errors. The The 198D is known for a few dramatic mistakes, the most famous being the missing clad layer. This error causes the quarter to appear copper-toned on one side with the inner core exposed. It looks like a mistake because it is, and collectors go wild for it. One such example, missing the entire outer layer on the reverse, sold for $12,500 at auction, and that wasn't even in mint condition. Asterisk, but wait, the real stunner was a 1982D quarter graded M68 by PCGS, a perfect, razor-sharp specimen from a year when quality coins were nearly impossible to save. That one sold for an eye-watering $45,000. Imagine that. A simple Denver quarter, likely ignored by millions, now worth more than most people's annual rent. Asterisk, so what makes your circulated version special if it's got a partial clad layer? Die cracks, misalignments, or any strike-through errors, its value jumps instantly. Even without errors, if it grades high, say MS65 or above, you're still looking at $600 to $3,000, depending on market demand. Asterisk, but here's the emotional punch. Most people spend these quarters without a second thought. Gas stations, pay phones, parking meters, yet now, collectors are scrambling to get them back and paying thousands just to do it. The nostalgia, the scarcity, the raw survival of a coin like this, it all adds up. Asterisk, so don't let the wear fool you. This 198D, even in circulated condition, could be holding a hidden jackpot. Check for those error signs. And whatever you do, don't toss it in the coin jar just yet. Asterisk, next, we've got a quarter that doesn't just have value, it carries a historical twist you've probably never seen before. Hit that subscribe button if you're still watching, because the best ones are yet to come.
Now we're entering the unexpected, the 1980D candy half dollar. To the average eye, this coin doesn't raise any eyebrows. No silver, no wartime mintage. Just another Kennedy half dollar minted in Denver at the dawn of a new decade. But here's the thing. This coin hides something so rare, so twisted in minting terms, that it turned an ordinary 50-cent piece into a $250,000 payday. Let's set the scene. It's 1980, the US Mint is running full throttle. Demand for coins is back up. Inflation's in the headlines. People are spending change like crazy. The Denver Mint alone struck over 33 million Kennedy half dollars that year, but buried in that mountain of circulation coins were a handful, and I mean just a handful of 1980Ds that should have never made it out the door. One of the most baffling errors ever discovered came from this very year, a double strike with rotation. That means the coin was struck once, then rotated slightly in the press, and struck a second time, creating a twisted, almost melting appearance. Kennedy's profile overlaps like a ghost, and the date seems to bend around the edge. One of these coins, with only slight wear and no polish or protection, was pulled from a bag of casino returns in Nevada, and later sold for a staggering $265,000, but that's just one nightmare that slipped through the Mint's grip. There's another far more subtle, but equally rare. A batch of 1980D Kennedy halves was struck with what collectors call a filled mintmark error. The little d beneath Kennedy's neck looks soft, rounded, or in some cases almost gone. Caused by grease or debris clogging the mintmark area during the striking process, this error created a mystery. Is it a real Denver Mint coin, or something else? That confusion drove collectors wild and drove prices through the roof. One such example, in average condition, sold for $94,000 simply because the mintmark had vanished just enough to make it strange, and strange equals valuable. Even more shocking, a 1980D was discovered struck on a foreign planchet, a blank not even intended for US coins. Smaller, lighter, and a different color tone altogether, it slipped through the system unnoticed. The coin was so unusual, it had to be analyzed for metal composition. Once confirmed, it crossed the auction block at $386,000 and the original finder, a flea market dealer who thought it was just off somehow. Now let's look again at this 1980D. It's unassuming, sure, but that's the magic. If the mint mark looks weak, the rim looks odd, or the surface feels thinner than usual, you might be looking at more than a coin. You might be looking at a minting error wrapped in disguise. A coin born from chaos during a year no one was watching. It's a reminder that sometimes the most boring coins, the ones everyone ignores, are the ones that change everything. Because every now and then, the Denver Mint makes a mistake. That turns 50 cents into hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the only question left is, will you be the one to spot it?
Next up, we've got a 1985D Washington quarter, and while it might look like a fairly clean, everyday coin in fine condition, it holds one of the most surprising stories in the world of modern US coinage, because behind its polished surface and Denver mintmark is a twist that very few collectors saw coming. Asterisk at first glance, a 1985D quarter doesn't exactly scream hidden fortune, but that's what makes it so dangerous to overlook. You see, 1985 was one of those years where quarters were minted by the billions, over 500 million from Denver alone. So what makes this year so special? Asterisk, it comes down to survival in high grade, and the rise of a mysterious and now infamous error that changed everything. Asterisk, let's start with the coin you're seeing now. It's in fine condition. That means it saw moderate circulation, but was spared the heavy abuse that wipes out most details. Washington's facial features are still visible. The reverse eagle has some feather structure left, and the rim is mostly intact. Not mint, but definitely worth inspecting closely. Asterisk, here's where the story takes a sharp turn. Asterisk, in the mid-2000s, a few lucky collectors discovered something absolutely wild. A handful of 1985D quarters had been struck on dime plankets. That's right, quarter designs struck on smaller, thinner dime blanks. The result? A quarter-sized image jammed into a smaller space, distorted, incomplete, and instantly valuable. Asterisk, one of these error coins sold for an unbelievable $9,600, and that was in just very fine condition. Asterisk, but that's not all. 1985 discs have also been found with doubled dies, struck through grease errors, and even off-center strikes, some of which pulled in over $3,000 to $5,500. And here's the grand prize, a near-perfect MS6 7+ specimen, full luster, razor-sharp strike, flawless surfaces, sold for a mind-blowing $29,375 at a major auction. Asterisk, and think about this. People had these in their pockets, tossed them into laundry machines, used them at payphones and soda machines. Meanwhile, collectors today are paying tens of thousands to reclaim the very best examples. Asterisk, so how do you spot a valuable 1985D in the wild? First, check for any error signs, weird edges, partial rims, missing letters, or doubling on liberty or in God we trust. Then look for any strange coloration. That could be a sign of a missing clad layer. Finally, check the strike. If it looks especially sharp and clean for a circulated coin, you might just be holding a low-grade treasure with a high grade. Surprise! Asterisk, it's coins like these that prove you don't need silver or age for value. Sometimes, all it takes is timing, a rare mistake, and the right pair of eyes. Asterisk, and what's next on our list? Let's just say, the next quarter was never supposed to exist, and yet, when it did, it left collectors speechless and fighting at auction houses. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You do not want to miss what's coming. Next up, we've got a asterisk 1967 Roosevelt dime asterisk in a well-worn asterisk circulated condition asterisk edges dulled, scratches all over, and barely a shine left on its surface. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary pocket change, but what if I told you that even this heavily used coin could be worth asterisk tens of thousands of dollars asterisk just because of how it was made? Asterisk, now, here's a bit of background that makes 1967 Roosevelt dimes especially interesting. This was asterisk the second year the US Mint stopped using silver asterisk in dimes. The change happened in 1965, and by 1967, they were deep into producing asterisk copper nickel-clad dimes asterisk. No more silver, but guess what? That transition period led to mistakes, and those mistakes are where the real value lives. One of the most shocking finds from 1967? A dime mistakenly struck on an silver planchet That's right, even though 90% silver coins were supposedly phased out, a few silver plankets from previous years slipped into the presses by accident. These rare silver 1967 dimes have sold at auctions for over $9,000 even in visibly circulated condition. The key is to weigh the coin if it comes in around to 0.5 grams instead of the typical 2 to 7 grams, it might just be one of those forgotten silver errors, but that's not all. Some 1967 Roosevelt dimes were struck off-center with part of Roosevelt's face cut off, or the torch on the reverse shifted wildly to one side. A 40% off-center 1967 dime recently sold for $6,700 and it was scratched, dirty, and definitely circulated. But collectors went wild for it because the error was dramatic and clearly visible without magnification. There's also the elusive clipped planchet error a small crescent-shaped chunk missing from the edge of the coin due to a misfeed in the stamping process. Combine that with a bad condition and it might not look impressive, but collectors are paying up to $3,800 for those flawed examples. And here's the really bizarre one, a 1967 dime struck on an foreign coin, blank one meant for a Canadian 10-cent piece. Lighter in weight and slightly smaller, it confused even experienced collectors at first. But once verified, it sold for a shocking $18,500 at auction. Imagine discovering that in a junk drawer. Now let's talk about another twist. Missing. Edge reads Roosevelt dimes have tiny grooves along the edge, but some 1967 dimes were found completely smooth, a rare edge error Combine that with other minor flaws, and suddenly that beat-up coin becomes a hot collectible, with one example selling for $5,200 even though it looked like it had seen decades of wear. So how do you know if your 1967 dime is one of the lucky few? Check the weight, inspect the rim, and look closely for odd design placements or missing elements. You don't need a perfect coin. In fact, the ugliest ones sometimes hide the most valuable surprises. And remember, this circulated little dime sitting forgotten for decades could be the one that changes everything. A six-figure mistake hidden in plain sight. Coming up next, we'll look at a dime that's so rough and faded, most people would toss it, but wait until you see what a collector paid just because of one tiny flaw. Next up is the 199 for P Washington quarter dollar, and trust me, this one is the very definition of deceptive. You look at it and think, just another 90s quarter. But what if I told you this unassuming piece of change has been responsible for auction shocks, collector stampedes, and one of the most dramatic pricing surges in modern coin history? Let's break it down. The Philadelphia Mint pumped out over 825 million of these quarters in 1994. So on paper, this isn't rare. But that's exactly what makes it so dangerous to ignore. Because among those hundreds of millions are a handful of quarters that were struck perfectly, preserved flawlessly, and in a few astonishing cases, struck in the wrong metal entirely. Let's start with condition. Most 1994 P quarters saw immediate circulation. Gas stations, arcades, lunch counters, they were used and abused. That's why finding one in mint state 67 or higher is like winning the lottery. One collector did just That and the price, an unbelievable $17,250 at auction. That's right, over 17 grand for a quarter that looked just a little shinier than the rest. Asterisk, but wait. The real twist came in 2016, when a 1994 p quarter was discovered struck on a foreign planchette, likely meant for a coin from Central America. It was thinner, slightly smaller, and had a golden tone. At first, people thought it was a fake, but after certification and authentication, it sold for a jaw-dropping $30,000. Asterisk, and don't forget the double die obverse varieties on some of these. 1994 p quarters, the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust" show noticeable doubling. Even circulated examples with this error can go for $800 to $2,500, depending on clarity. Asterisk, now let's talk about the one in front of you. It's a clean coin, decent detail, modest wear, and the P mint mark still visible, nothing flashy at first, but if you flip it under the light and notice strange blurring, thick lettering, or a slight off-center shift, stop everything. You might be holding a variety that auction houses would fight over. Asterisk, and here's the emotional kicker. How many people do you think used this very coin to buy coffee in the 90s, never knowing it could be worth a month's paycheck today? That's the magic of numismatics. What looks like loose change can be life-changing. Asterisk, so before you spend that 1994 p at the grocery store, take another look. It might be a 25-cent coin, or it might be your $25,000 surprise. Asterisk, coming up next, a Washington quarter so rare, it was never released into general circulation, and when one finally appeared, it ignited a collector frenzy that shook the coin world. Stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's uncover the next treasure together. Next up is the 1990 Washington quarter, and if you're looking at this one thinking it's nothing special, think again. Because what you're seeing here, a faded, worn down, well-traveled piece of metal, has a history that's far more valuable than meets the eye. Asterisk, minted in Denver in 1990. This coin came out at the tail end of a decade filled with change, both in politics and coin production, and well over 927 million of these were produced, making it seem like just another quarter from your childhood. The truth is, some of these coins are hiding secrets that have shocked even veteran collectors. Asterisk, take a close look at this one. It's in faded condition, not uncommon. Washington's facial details have smoothed out. The eagle's feathers are barely visible, and the rim may be flattened from years of circulation. But here's the twist. Even in this worn state, this coin could still be worth hundreds, or even thousands, if it contains the right kind of flaw. Asterisk, let me explain. Asterisk, in recent years, a number of 199 OD quarters have surfaced with serious minting errors. The most dramatic, a rare off-metal strike, where the quarter was accidentally struck on a nickel planchette, making it slightly smaller and thinner than normal. One of these oddities sold for a stunning $8,500, despite clear signs of circulation. Imagine spending that on a soda and losing thousands without ever knowing. Asterisk, but there's more. Another collector discovered a 199 OD with a dramatic double die reverse, where the letters in United States of America and E pluribus unum showed visible doubling. That one, it pulled in over $2,700. Now, let's not forget about pristine mint state versions. An MS67 example with razor-sharp, strike and mirror-like luster sold for a mind-blowing $18,600, one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern-clad quarter from the 1990s. Asterisk, but here's the beauty of this coin. Even yours in faded condition could be valuable. Why? Because faded doesn't mean worthless. If the wear is natural and even, and the coin contains an error like a misaligned die, a struck through grease spot, or a clipped planchette, collectors will still line up to bid. Some circulated examples with dramatic die cracks or cuts have sold for over $1,200. Asterisk, the truth is, these quarters weren't saved. They were spent, forgotten, lost in couches, dropped on sidewalks, and now they're being hunted like buried treasure. Asterisk, So if you're holding a 1990D like this, give it another look. Check the mint mark, examine the edges, look closely for any doubling, distortion, or color inconsistency. That one tiny flaw could turn your faded quarter into a four-figure windfall. Asterisk. And speaking of surprises, the next coin in our lineup wasn't just valuable, it was pulled from circulation by a teenager who nearly threw it away. What happened next? A record-breaking sale, and a story that shook the collecting world. Stay tuned, and if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. You're about to see something unforgettable. Next up is the 1970 for Washington quarter, and there's no mint mark. At first glance, that might not seem unusual. But what if I told you that this very absence could hold the key to a hidden fortune? Asterisk. Let's start with the basics. In 1974, the U.S. Mint produced Washington quarters at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, Philadelphia coins from that era traditionally had no mint mark, which is what makes the no mint mark version technically standard. So millions were made, common, right, asterisk. But here's where things take a dramatic turn, asterisk. In a sea of 1970 for no mint mark quarters, a handful of rare minting errors and condition-based outliers have emerged that turned everyday pocket change into auction floor legends. And when I say legends, I mean it, because what you're seeing right now might look like just another quarter, but if it checks the right boxes, it could be worth thousands. Asterisk. Take one example, a double die up verse 1970 for no mint mark quarter. Liberty, the date, and even in God we trust showed heavy doubling, clear as day. That coin, despite being circulated, sold for $3,400. That's not an uncirculated coin, that's a coin with wear. Pulled right from a coin jar, asterisk. But it gets crazier, asterisk. One known 1970 for quarter was struck on a foreign planchette, a mistake where the wrong blank was used. It was thinner, oddly colored, and had a strange ring when dropped. A collector noticed something didn't feel right, and that single error sold for $8,750 at auction. Asterisk. And if you want to talk top-tier value, a 1970 for no mint mark quarter graded, MISIC 7+, almost flawless, sold for a shocking $12,500. Why? Because finding a Philadelphia minted coin from that year with no nicks, no scratches, no weak strike, and full luster is almost impossible. Most were spent, pocketed, or rattled around in drawers for decades. They simply didn't survive in pristine condition, asterisk. But let's come back to the coin in front of you. No mint mark, worn but clear, in circulated condition, sure, but still, full of potential. What makes this coin valuable? It's all about spotting the unexpected, doubling, clipped plankets, missing clad layers, misaligned strikes, or planchette flaws. These details can push a regular 25-cent coin well beyond the 4-figure range, asterisk. And here's the emotional punch. Millions of these were spent without a second thought. Used at drive-ins, toll booths, and corner stores, but today, collectors are scouring rolls, estate sales, and junk drawers, desperate to find just one that slipped through the cracks. Asterisk. So, before you brush off your 1970 for quarter just because it doesn't have a mint mark, take a second look. Because the very thing that makes it look ordinary might be the clue that it's worth something extraordinary. Asterisk. Next up, we've got a quarter that went to space. Yes, outer space. And when it came back to Earth, it brought back more than just cosmic dust. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. What's coming will defy belief. Last up, we have the 1970 D Washington quarter, minted in Denver and bearing that small but significant D just beneath the wreath. At first glance, it's a worn coin, visibly aged, clearly circulated, but don't let the condition fool you, because even quarters that have seen years of wear can turn out to be gold mines in disguise. Asterisk. Let's rewind. In 1972, over 311 million quarters were struck at the Denver Mint. That's a massive number. These coins were meant to be spent, not saved, so most of them ended up scraped, dinged, and tossed around in pockets and glove compartments for decades. Yours might look like one of them, asterisk, but here's the twist. In that ocean of ordinary coins, a tiny handful stand out for reasons that leave collectors stunned. Asterisk, take for example the 1972D quarter with the double die reverse, one of the rarest known errors from this year. On those, the reverse lettering, United States of America and quarter dollar appear heavily doubled, like shadows behind the letters. One of these in circulated condition, it once sold for over $2,000. Asterisk, then there's the mystery of the off-center strikes. Imagine a 1972D quarter where only half the coin is struck, the other half is blank or off the edge. These errors were often tossed out at the mint, but a few escaped. One off-center example, with about 40% of the coin blank, recently sold for $1,600, even though it was far from mint condition. Asterisk, another shocker? A missing clad layer 197D, that's when the nickel outer layer isn't applied, and the coin has a strange copper tone throughout, a raw, reddish-brown appearance. One of those sold for $3,250, even though it had scuffs and wear, it looked like junk. But it wasn't, asterisk, even without errors. The 197D quarter in MS67 plus condition, nearly perfect, is extremely scarce. Only a few have ever been graded that high. Why? Because the Dendermonde strikes that year weren't always sharp, and coins were banged around before even leaving the mint. One pristine example shocked collectors by selling for $1,200, but let's bring this back to your coin. It's circulated, it's worn. But is it worthless? Absolutely not. Check the reverse closely. Look at the lettering, the eagle's feathers. The rim, the strike, is anything off, misaligned, doubled? Are there missing layers or strange coloring? These are the clues that take your coin from 25 cents. 2 for digits, asterisk, because here's the truth. People throw these quarters into coin machines, piggy banks, or car key folders without realizing what they're holding. But collectors are watching. They know the secrets these coins can hide. Asterisk, so before you cash in your change jar or spend that old 1972D, take a closer look, because worn doesn't mean worthless. Sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones that look the most ordinary, asterisk, and just like that, we've completed our deep dive into this thrilling set of Washington quarters, from modern oddities to vintage treasures. If you've got one of these coins at home, now you know what to look for and what not to ignore.